Paperlike is known amongst the digital art community as the best screen protector for the iPad. Today, I have their Pro Bundle, which includes the latest revision to the Paperlike screen protector, the pencil grips, as well as the cleaning kit, and I'll tell you if the improvements are as promised in just a second.
I ain't getting out of bed today.
Keep waking up from the previous night.
Now to begin with, the current state of my iPad is I still have the same version of the Paperlike 2 screen protector I used in the review I did 2 years ago. And while it's scuffed up quite a bit, it held up pretty good with no bubbles and no peeling or anything like that. So we'll prepare for a quick install here, and the tape, in case we need it, is a reference to how to install an iPad matte screen protector perfect and bubble free. I'll link that down below in case you need it. Each Paperlike order comes with 2 pieces. The stickers are color coded to help with the install process. You'll find a pouch with your microfiber cloth along with some wipes and the stickers you're going to need to follow along with the instructions here. For now, while we set up, you're going to want to just place them to the side. You're going to need them later. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of those Paperlikes and we're going to line it up to the iPad as shown here. The first set of included stickers we're going to need are these. One is to lift dust and the other 3 are to hold the Paperlike in place after we position it. The first thing we'll do here is we'll put one in the farthest left corner, and it sort of grabs onto the little gap you have between the edge of the iPad and the screen protector itself. It's slight, but it's enough to grab. Next, we want one right about in the middle, and I'm using my fingernail here to grab that little gap that I mentioned earlier. Next, we'll put one at the top left position and make them as evenly spaced apart as you possibly can, without driving yourself crazy. Now, how this is designed to work is you should be able to slide the iPad left and the sticker should get sucked underneath the bottom of it, forming somewhat of a book cover. I've got some grip laid down, and that got in my way a little bit, but I like the iPad not moving around on me when I'm doing something like a screen protector install. If they don't slide under, just tuck them under the iPad and make sure they attach to the side without messing with the position of the screen protector so much. We'll take one of the 2 Paperlike branded stickers and put it right in the middle on the right side. Now that I've got my book cover on, I'm going to clean my iPad, making sure I get all the sticky stuff from the last screen protector I had on there. Don't be afraid to use the included screen wipes to do it, but give them multiple passes because you don't want any of that glue being stuck on. We're ready to start attaching this thing now. You want to keep some tension slightly up while you pull from that bottom right corner while slowly closing your book cover. I'm leaving very little distance to make sure I don't get any dust in the way. You want to slowly peel it off while allowing that screen protector to start to grab hold. And if you did it properly, it should look about like this. Don't worry about those bubbles, we'll deal with them. Now at this point, we still have a protective layer over the screen protector itself. So grab a credit card of some sort and the microfiber cloth, and we can start rubbing out these bubbles. Note, if this process does not work for you, refer to that video in the description for an alternate way to get these bubbles out. When you get it decent enough, you're going to start pulling those red stickers off. They leave a little goop behind, but don't worry about it because we're tearing that top off anyway. I've got a couple little buggers that have bothered me, so I'm slightly lifting up the screen protector itself, and I'm using the included dust remover sticker to try to get them out. A lot of times those tiny little bubbles that you can't get out are really specks of dust. So if you notice, what I'm doing here is I'm flipping the sticker upside down to make sure the piece of dust isn't attached to the screen protector itself. I'll repeat this process over and over until I get every little last bubble out, until I make my OCD happy or I repeatedly throw myself down a flight of stairs. After you're satisfied, it's time to peel that top layer off. This is going to show us if we missed anything. There's still time to clean it all up. The first thing I'm doing is giving it a once over with the microfiber cloth, and I took another microfiber cloth I had laying around and I just dampened it with a touch of water. This will help make sure no smears are hiding any bubbles, and as you can see, I've got a perfect install. In real time, this probably took me about 20 minutes. Okay, so this new Paperlike 2.1 Swiss Paperlike, it's made in Switzerland with their new manufacturing partners. What this comes down to is it's a new material that improves the distribution of these Nano Dots. We'll talk about Nano Dots in a second. It's roughly 33% thinner than most iPad screen protectors. It has improved picture clarity over the last Paperlike editions, and features the same stroke resistance, aka the Paperlike texture. Now the secret behind Paperlike is the Nano Dots. Think of Nano Dots as a pattern that goes across the entire screen protector. This is what gives it its texture, and how it reduces reflections. Like the previous two versions, I find this to work as advertised, although there's always some compromise when you're talking about adding texture to anything, which means there is some grain present when you're viewing your iPad. For some people, this drives them crazy, but this is the same effect that my $2,000 Cintiq has. See, most digital artists have learned to live with this, because once again, drawing on glass is trash. Now they weren't fooling around when they decided to make these pencil grips. In fact, they brought in an expert product designer to help them get this done. The result, as I unbox these, are two different pencil grips. One is larger and for comfort, the other is smaller and for precision. Beginning with the larger one, you'll notice two distinct grooves on the bottom side of the pencil grip. They're meant to keep your fingers in place when you hold the pencil. On the top of the pencil grip, there's a thin, flat groove that's meant to align with the top of your Apple Pencil. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But basically, it's thin so you can use that double tap feature on the Apple Pencil itself. Size-wise, this is about the size of your typical pencil grip you'd get on Amazon or something like that. Now the precision grip is a lot smaller, and if you don't like the larger size, this one is not going to get in the way as much. And for me, it took a lot less getting used to. It still shares the same two grooves as its big brother, along with that thin ridge up at the top to align with the Apple Pencil. Installation is a piece of cake. Just find that top flat groove on your Apple Pencil, align it with that thin flat part of the grip, and slowly slide it on. It should stop right about where the thickest part of the barrel of the pencil is. The grip should feel somewhat natural, with your middle finger resting on one side of the indent and your thumb resting on the other, leaving your index finger to be able to double tap as needed. The install process for the larger comfort grip is exactly the same. Naturally, holding it is going to feel a lot different, and that's the intention. For me, the larger grip made a lot more sense for things like painting, where I'd have to hold the pencil for a long time, but I really didn't need to worry about things like fine line work or anything like that. Each one provides a different level of comfort and mitigates fatigue in their own way. Finally, in both cases, there were no issues with the magnetic battery charging, although I can't be sure if you had a thicker case on here, if the combination of both would cause you issues. Hey, do me a favor, if you find this video helpful, subscribe, hit the bell button, drop a like, and drop a comment so you won't miss anything. In the Pro Bundle, you get this cleaning kit, which I found pretty cool. It's an all-in-one unit, you pop it out of the case, and it's got the microfiber material built right into it. Make sure you know where that hole is so you don't spray it all in your face like I did the first time. Generously apply it, and then just smooth it out as shown. Since I shot this, I've been using this cleaning stuff on my laptop and my Cintiq and found it worked great for both of those as well. I wish it was refillable, but I suppose that material gets worn out after time. After a quick test of the double tap functionality, it's time to do some line tests and see how this screen protector holds up. We'll do some of my more traditional tests, where I'm making sure the pressure is there over the entire length of the line. I'm going to do some quick hatching strokes here, as I make sure all the things I expect to work, touch functionality, etc., are not being impeded by the screen protector itself. Fortunately, in terms of what I expected, the screen protector doesn't cause any kind of interference. My camera is not able to pick up the grain, but then again, it can't be that obstructive if it's not even showing up in the video. As I mentioned before, I don't even notice it. The one thing I will call out is the pen grips are sort of ergonomic, and in a way sort of force your fingers into a certain position. I found the Apple Pencil to be shifting on me as I learned to get comfortable with the new pen grip, causing me to sometimes miss the mark on the double tap. In the last couple of weeks I've got a lot better at it, but I still find I miss the mark sometimes because I wind up holding the pencil wrong. By the way, I have my iPad in a Sketchboard Pro, which you can get through the Paperlike site, although I got mine in the Indiegogo campaign directly from the manufacturer. I've got a link to my full review below. You're curious to know what Paperlike sounds like? I've got some super boosted audio to give you an idea. Note, it's nowhere near this loud when you're actually using it. Sketching with Paperlike feels familiar, which it should. This isn't so much of a full upgrade as it is an incremental revision. If I had to compare it, the texture feels almost exactly like Paperlike 2, which again is what they said. I'd say if you're still using Paperlike 2, you're probably okay to skip this version, unless you're in need anyway. If you're using the original Paperlike, this definitely is a full-blown upgrade. It's a lot thinner, and there's a lot less grain on the screen than the original version. Some people refer to that as like a rainbow effect or a screen door effect. And as I mentioned earlier, on this particular version, if I really try to spot it I can, but it's not really overwhelming. But for you guys that it's really going to bother, I can't say that it isn't there. Next, because I'm sure it's going to show up in the comments, is obviously the price. While the full bundle shaves some off of it, in terms of screen protectors and pen grips, this is a bit pricey. I'm generally not penny wise pound foolish when it comes to things like this, especially when you're talking about a $1,200 to $1,500 iPad, but I understand that there are alternatives on the market where you can get something cheaper. So for me, being a Cintiq user and an iPad user, you could tell as a consumer I don't mind paying a couple extra dollars to get what I feel is the best. And I still feel out of all the screen protectors I've tried that market themselves towards artists, that this one is still the best. In terms of the pen grips, the precision one has become my primary driver in terms of using the pen for art on a daily basis. Although I preferred the precision one, I find switching off to the comfort grip every now and again really helps reduce fatigue in long sessions. So don't be afraid to experiment with something, even if it's a little unfamiliar at first. So there it is, the Paperlike Pro Bundle. Obviously for me, I plan to keep the Paperlike products in my arsenal as I have for the last couple of years. The cons aside, to me there isn't any better experience for a digital artist on an iPad to give you that paper-like texture that they advertise. Now, I hope you found this helpful. If you like this video, check this guy out over here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.